For some people, eating is nothing more than a routine, almost insignificant. For others, it's a luxury. But what if you could only eat the bare minimum for the rest of your life? How little food does the human body actually need to survive? Could you live on just one tortilla a day? Or does your body have a secret trick to stretch that meal as if it were magical? Today we'll explore the science behind eating almost nothing, something millions of people around the world face every single day. The human body is a master of adaptation. When you eat a lot, your body burns more. When you eat less, it slows down and starts conserving energy, almost like switching into battery saver mode. This process, known as metabolic adaptation, is why a person can survive for weeks with barely any food. The metabolism slows, non-essential functions shut down, and the body begins consuming its own reserves, first glycogen, then fat, and eventually muscle. But this survival strategy has limits. During World War II, the Minnesota Starvation Experiment revealed just how dangerous extreme calorie restriction can be. Healthy young men put on a semi-starvation diet of just over 1,000 calories a day developed severe fatigue, depression, anxiety, muscle loss, and a long-lasting obsession with food that haunted them for years. And here's where things get both curious and controversial. Some researchers once suggested that African-descendant communities in the United States might have a genetic tendency to store more fat, a survival mechanism inherited from enslaved ancestors who endured long periods without food. This is called the thrifty gene hypothesis. But modern research challenges this claim. There's no conclusive proof of a single fat gene. Obesity is a multifactorial phenomenon. Genetics, education, stress, lack of access to healthy food, and systemic inequality all play a role. It's not about being genetically bigger, but about living in conditions where hunger shapes the body, and sometimes leaves permanent marks. So, what's the bare minimum to avoid death? On average, a person needs between 2,000 and 2,500 calories a day to maintain basic functions. But in extreme cases, under controlled conditions and with almost no physical activity, the absolute minimum can drop to around 100 calories daily. That's about 2 bananas, 1 egg, a cup of rice, a handful of beans, and a bit of oil. Can you survive on that?
Technically, yes. For how long? That depends.
Let's break it down.
Day 1 to 3. The body enters alert mode.
It relies on glycogen stores in the liver and muscles for quick energy. Hunger feels overwhelming, dizziness and headaches kick in, but you still have strength, you're running on fumes.
Day 4 to 10.
Glycogen runs out. Now the body shifts into ketosis, breaking down fat into ketones for fuel. Appetite decreases, but your breath may smell like acetone. Movements slow, metabolism drops, and your body fully activates energy-saving mode. Day 11 to 21.
Muscles begin to pay the price.
As fat reserves shrink, the body starts breaking down muscle tissue. Strength, reflexes, and focus deteriorate. Women may lose their menstrual cycle. Even the heart, immune system, and brain mass begin to weaken.
At this point, you're not just weak, you're vulnerable.
Day 22 to 45. Internal damage escalates. Severe anemia, vitamin deficiencies, frequent infections, hair loss, and obsessive thoughts about food become common. Survival turns into a painful trade-off.
2 months and beyond.
Few bodies can endure this stage. Some may survive, but often with lifelong consequences: osteoporosis, stunted growth in children, cognitive decline, chronic depression, even reduced brain volume. Survival comes at a devastating cost. Not everyone deteriorates at the same pace. Those with higher fat stores might last longer, but that doesn't guarantee protection. Stress, climate, activity, and pre-existing conditions all matter. Some collapse within weeks, others manage years in harsh conditions, but nobody escapes unscathed. And there's another side to this: when food restriction is not forced by poverty, but by the mind itself. Eating disorders are not a trend or a choice. They are serious mental illnesses. Anorexia nervosa is the intense fear of gaining weight, even when undernourished. Bulimia involves cycles of binge eating followed by purging. Binge eating disorder is using food as an emotional escape. These conditions destroy not only the body, but also self-esteem, mental health, and relationships. In a world where eating clean is often confused with eating less, these disorders frequently go unnoticed. For millions of people, though, the real question isn't how much should I eat to lose weight, but how much is there today to stay alive? From rural villages in Africa and Latin America to inner-city neighborhoods, food scarcity is a daily battle, not by choice, but because of poverty, war, drought, or neglect. According to the FAO, 1 in 11 people on Earth faces severe food insecurity. That means not knowing if there will be food tomorrow. The body adapts, yes, but the spirit grows weary. Because surviving is not the same as living. A human can scrape by on 100 calories a day, sometimes for months. But each day under such conditions leaves scars, physical, mental, and emotional. While some count calories for aesthetics, others count them to avoid collapse. So next time you look at your plate, don't just complain about what's missing, be grateful.
And if you can, share.
Eating keeps us alive, but feeding others keeps us human.